Good morning, everyone. Depending on where you are. Good morning. Hopefully, let me just make sure. Hold on. All right, my little earbuds are plugged in or working. Hey, I don't really like using these things. It's so funny. I talk about it all the time, and I used to talk to my boys about them because I'm like, there's Bluetooth frequencies like going back and forth in your brain that are not conducive to brain function. So I don't really like using these, but again, because of the jackhammering going on, I feel like it somehow in my mind it filters out some of the noise. So welcome everyone. Good morning if you are in the States, or good afternoon. Maybe you're getting into the afternoon times. It is afternoon here, late afternoon here in Albania, and I don't know about you, but y'all, I'm coming here fully vulnerable because I come here to talk about peace, and not all days are peaceful. And today is the second day of feeling really, really depleted. Since the last peace talks, I've kind of been taking a low tour of the lower dimensional realms of clearing. There's been a clearing that's come up, and we are in today. We had a partial solar eclipse, which I was really excited about because it was the sun at that time that it was at its peak was right outside of my door, and I had my alarm set so I didn't miss it. And I was going to take pictures of it. And but then when I was like, it was really anticlimactic, to be honest with you. Of course I couldn't look at the sun, but I was trying to take pictures of it and see if I could see the eclipse. But where it was, I learned a little bit later, because I was like, why didn't I see anything? But where because of the size of the sun in proportion to the moon, where the moon passed through, it really wasn't where I was going to see it, even though it was at a peak time where I thought I was going to be able to see it. So the whole thing was very anticlimactic as far as my 1% physical part of sight could see. But I will tell you, the 99% of me has felt these energies. The new moon plus the eclipse has felt these energies really, really intensely in these last couple of days. And what I do believe now, I've been talking about these last 2.5 months of the year are going to be quite potent for us. And I think that starts today. And how I see it, how I'm seeing it is that we're in eclipse season now. So there's another one coming. I think it's on the 5th, November 5th. And so we've got this eclipse, and we're going to feel these energies for, actually Pam Gregory, I was watching her YouTube channel or her update the other day, and she was saying up to 6 months afterwards. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was yesterday. And I thought, oh my Lord of mercy, because this one has been really, really potent for me. So we've got this eclipse, and then we've got the one on I believe it's on the 5th, and then we move into the 11/11 portal. And just as I remember talking about last year when I was doing the daily tune-ins, from the 11/11 portal to December 21st to the winter solstice here in the northern hemisphere, summer solstice in the southern hemisphere, there's this wave, there's a huge tsunami of energy from that standpoint. So the way I see it is like the eclipse season is kind of like when you have a dam, and all the water is dammed up, and you get like a good rain or whatever, and the dam rises. So there's like a lot of there's a crescendo kind of energy that I'm feeling. And then come the portal on 11/11, I just see like the dam opening, and the energy just rushing through towards the end of the year. So I think I have felt pretty viscerally and pretty deeply that these 2.5 months are going to be quite intense. And I've also have evidence of it, just astrologically, and watching. I love Pam Gregory. If y'all don't, if you don't watch her, I don't know a lot about astrology. I know enough, not even enough to be dangerous, but what I do know is just the sense, in the sensical and intellectual standpoint of it all, celestial bodies each have a frequency, right? Each of us, you and me, we are celestial bodies. and I have my frequency and you have yours. And if you come into my space, it changes the complete frequency of the space. So if we have, resonant frequencies, the frequency of us comes up. And yet, as we know, when another celestial body or person comes in and they're low, and they're in the lower resonance of emotional energy and frequency, it'll change the complete energy of the room. So celestial bodies in our galaxy are the same way. When they come close into our planet, when the moon is, you know, today, when the moon comes over and it's like, excuse me, sun, coming through, like those two big, powerful bodies change the frequency of our planet. So whether or not the moon is IA or whether it's natural, we know it has an effect on us. And so whatever it is, it's a frequency, it's a body that has frequency. So when it passes between us and the sun, and we've got all of this activity going on that's not normal, then it gives us a shock to our planetary frequency, which then obviously gives us a shock to our systems. So we have a lot of planetary stuff going on here in the next couple of weeks, and as well as just this is the time, the energy we're going into. Next week is on the 31st. It's, we call it Halloween, but it's really celebrated because it is when the veil is extremely thin between worlds. So there's a lot that we are 99%, energetics of us and the unseen parts of us are adjusting to. Plus, we know we're getting way advanced new energies from solar energies from the sun. I know I talked a couple of weeks ago about doing a workshop about what the light actually is, like these sun scalar rays, what it does to us. I've started working on that. I've just, when I'm inspired is when I do it. I don't do anything until I get the nudge, and I've just been kind of working through a lot of these energies. And since Sunday, when I did the last peace talks, I don't know, it's just the energies have gotten really intense. And I will say physically, I have felt them, like the crown, this isn't physical. What I know is like the crown chakra has taken in a lot of energy because I feel it physically. I have had a dull, aching headache for 2 days straight now, and a lot of pressure back here. And back here is at this brain center is the energetic, the spiritual center, the ganglionic center of us is the spiritual kind of brain of our 12 power, our 12 solar deities, our 12 power centers. And as I've been talking about that, we are in the final phases of having each of those activated. And we have really only in this physical form been operating in the seven chakra centers, because that's all we could handle as far as frequency, as far as energy. Now with these 12 strands of the solar power centers coming online, with these higher energies, we are now connected in to different chakras that we've never been hooked into, so to speak. So we have a lot of brand new operating systems, brand new frequency systems that we are getting calibrated. So there's so much that's going on within us, and it is still burning off again a lot of the inner densities. We've done so much work, for those of us in this conversation, in understanding this process and being with and clearing a lot of these densities that we've been talking about for over a year now, at least on my YouTube channel, a lot more, but we've all been on this awakening journey, on this healing journey for a long time. So this is nothing new. And at the same time, though, these last 2 days, I'm like, what is this? There is just so much unseen, like little pockets of densities that are stuck in different places. And they're not really, attach to obvious traumas that we may have known of, that we've worked on healing. What I have noticed in these last 2 days and just sitting in my own gunk is that I could put a story to it, but I was like, it doesn't really go with anything anymore, that, anything logically that I have. Like, to give you an example, I was talking to Bud this morning, early in the morning for me and late night for him. And I was just like, honey, I'm like, I don't know what this feeling is. And if I was like, I just feel like it's really hopeless. Like, I feel really hopeless, but I couldn't really give it a story. I couldn't really attach it to anything. And I mean, I could stretch it, but I just knew it was just some kind of, it was just a density that was like tucked in somewhere, that these energies are bringing up for me to purge. And the worst part of it was, today I had to go do adulting stuff and go pay for my internet bill for next month, which requires you to go, like, actually go to the internet office. And then I had to go to the post office and pay the water and electric bill, and which is $41. This is like the one part of it. I'm so not looking forward to going back to the States. Like, everything is so inexpensive here, so inexpensive. But so I mean, I paid half of that for my internet, and that was 2 months worth of utilities for us. So so I paid all that, and just going through that whole thing, when you're feeling depleted, when you're feeling hopeless, it was just like, it was torture. It was torture for me this morning. So when I came back here, then I got myself a shower, got cleansed off of all that energy, and was sitting with today's message. And I'm like, I couldn't, like, there was nothing that was coming forth. I couldn't connect in. I couldn't go deep enough because I was just in my stuff. And as I just sat with it this morning, I decided that I'm going to come in and just be really vulnerable, and just let you know that I am feeling depleted. I am feeling hopeless. I don't know why. I don't really have the story behind it, and yet I just know, I know why, the purpose of it. I don't know really what is causing it. The purpose of it is to clear us out, because again, all of these energy centers now, we have our 12 dimensional chakra system now is online, and we are learning how to have all of this light being pulled through us. So our soul star chakra is now fully online, so we're receiving more and more information. We're connected to our supernal channels clearer and more tuned in than ever before, so we're pulling in new information. The sun rays are more potent than ever. So we are pulling in. And this is when we're becoming kind of like this antenna of light, and it's flowing in. And yet for our physical systems, we're still getting used to it. And yet there's no going back. And as I sat with that, I was like, that's kind of what the message is. We've come out of October, where the theme is, I mean, I know we're still in October, but with the first month of this Jubilee year, where freedom was really the topic. Freedom was the work that we were doing. We were kind of clearing up the last realms of what we needed to clear up to be in consciousness, completely free of that inverted matrix system. And if I were to give kind of, try to come up with some metaphors, which is what I was kind of being given to understand this message a little more, is we are now, if you think of like the United States, and we finally got freedom from England, it was such a hard fought thing. And then all of a sudden, I would imagine, we got our freedom, and then we're like, ooh, we don't have money coming in from England. We don't have resources. We don't have direction. And having to organize then and start creating the new world, was probably at one point a little messy at first. It was a little overwhelming. And I was like, okay, I see where we're going with this. And then I brought it into my own experience, my own world. And a year and a half ago, when Bud and I finally, kind of closed down the old world, sold off everything, and said, we're going to go figure out what it is to live life on our terms. this year and a half has been extremely, extremely difficult, because now that we have freedom, freedom was really overwhelming. We didn't have freedom in all ways, for sure. But where we did have freedom, like location freedom and choices and what do we want to do for work and all of these things. And it was really overwhelming and really uncomfortable. So, as we enter into this second month of this celebration year, we are now being asked to start planting the seeds, to start building, literally creating the new world, our individually, as well as the new earth, right? We've been talking about this in this whole conversation of ascension, is we are ascending into and creating a new earth. This one has been polluted, this one has been corrupted, this one has been is disassembling because it's too, the frequency of it is too low from where we are now in in the photon belt, in the constellation of Aquarius, which in that celestial body has a really high frequency. So all of the things that can't resonate at that level, it's just like what I was saying. If someone comes in here and is at a really low level and they're kind of sucking the energy out, eventually, eventually they're either going to leave because they're going to feel it, or someone's going to have to say, "Hey, man, you got to leave. Like you're a buzzkill." So this inverted matrix that we've been living in is a complete buzzkill to the age of Aquarius, the time that we are supposed to come together in communal living, in a frequency of love, and all the things that people will roll their eyes at. But that's where we're going. We are having to create all new systems, all new worlds, so that we can be in resonance with where our planet is. So that is the next step of this process, of this Jubilee year, of this Yovel year that we've talked about. And what that's looking like for us each individually is we now have to move into that second month where the theme is connecting into the earth star chakra is the theme that came up when I did the reading. And it completely makes sense. And that reading is on my YouTube channel, and I'll try to remember to put that link in here so I can make it easy. But I did a reading for the whole next year, starting with September, the whole Yovel year, of what does each month's theme bring that we're going to tune into each month and each week during that month. So this month, today, we enter into the Earth Star Chakra, which originally when I sat with this, I was like, this is when we start sowing. This is when we start sowing the seeds. We start literally planting the physical seeds of what our individual worlds are going to look like, what we are creating. And eventually, each of us in the pockets of the world that we are will kind of merge together, and that's how these communities come. And this is how this consciousness starts to spread. People start saying, "I like what you're doing. How'd you do it?" "Oh, well, you have to, you kind of have to shed the old world stuff. You got to take a chance. You got to find freedom. You got to liberate yourself. And once you liberate yourself, it's going to be a little bit overwhelming for a minute, because it is. But then you get to work, right?" So the beautiful thing is, I think this is where we start to redefine work. This is, for many of us, working in that inverted world was painful. Like, oh, I got to get up and I got to go to work. And, many people wake up depleted like I did today, but it was a different kind of work. And then we start to liberate ourselves and we do the work to pull out of that. And then we get into, we fight for the liberation, or we keep walking. And what that means is you keep walking forward when the world wants to pull you back, and people say, "What are you doing?" And you're starting to make space. That space between gets really uncomfortable. And the work is to keep working, to keep moving forward on your freedom, on your liberation. Then you finally feel that freedom. You're like, okay, I'm finally clear of all of that stuff. But then you just stand there and you're like, I'm feeling pretty alone. Like, now what? No one's there giving us direction, right? We don't have a boss. We don't have somebody who's saying, here's what you do next to create your heaven on earth. Here's what you do next to create 5D, 5D world, whatever you want to call it, the new earth. No, like, this hasn't been done before. and that's why we are the pioneers. That's why it does feel a little lonely. But now is the time, for us to say, okay, what's the next step? We just simply start planting seeds. But I want to give you a little bit of a kind of give you an overview of the Earth Star chakra. So just so we can kind of speak the same language and we know that we're on the same page as far as what this means for us. So I'm actually just going to read the first paragraph of this book is Beyond Lemuria. It's a little guidebook. It's by Izzy Ivy. It's a great little card deck that I have, but I thought I'd start there as far as kind of getting to the crux of the this work that we're going to be doing for the next month, and also be really supported by the energies of November with these eclipses and the 1111 portal, and majority of November is going to fall into those 40 days and 40 nights of between the 1111 portal up to the December 21st solstice. So here's something I just want to start out with, okay? Taking a deep breath. The Earth Star chakra is the initiation, okay? It symbolizes oneness, collective consciousness, anchoring transmissions from higher realms, sacred earth knowledge, integration of the divine, and you're working with grid lines. You are standing at a gateway into the unknown with trust in your heart, ancient remembering in your soul, and inner illumination to light the way. You have access to the seat of creation, the spark of existence, and the codes that hold the blueprints of who and what you are. This place is clear and grounded, despite moving through multidimensional realms and able to bridge worlds while functioning in physical reality. The higher you reach for the divine and the realms of spirit, the more important it is to anchor deeply to the earth. And this is something like I was, as soon as I read this, I was like, you can't make this stuff up. There's no coincidence in this. I got this like random hair. I just pulled my hair back when it was wet. I was too tired to do anything with myself after I showered. So I keep like seeing this weird funky hair. So this really, really, what I say, there's no coincidences. This really ties in the timing of us moving into this Earth Star chakra is so relevant to the conversation we've been having just here on Peace Talks. So anchoring transmissions for higher realms, right? We've been talking in the freedom month of the supernal channels, pulling in our inner guidance. We are connected more clearly than ever on that. So I keep saying that so you trust what comes to you. You trust new ideas, you trust insights. We are beyond the days where it is about, oh, my mind made that up, and the mind starts working on all the ways that it doesn't work. This is like we are now hooked into that supernal channel. We've dialed ourselves in by clearing ourselves and becoming a clear channel. Sacred earth knowledge, by being now with grounding these energies down, we are pulling energy from Mother Earth. She's also creating a whole new version of herself. So we're in communication with that too. Integration of the divine, working with grid lines. This is interesting because I do see many of us, and I've already been talking about it in my own world, that I'm, changing geographic locations or in the process of that. But I do see many of us being unexpectedly positioned in different places than maybe you are now. So if you're feeling a call to move, you're feeling a call to be somewhere else, really pay attention to that. Because what I know pretty clearly, pretty deeply about my own journey, it doesn't make sense that like I was in Ukraine. It doesn't make sense that I've been here in Albania until, as I think about this and understand more and more about this process and how we are called to be at different parts of the world at different times. It's because our particular light, our particular knowledge is required here. Now, I haven't been out teaching and spreading knowledge here in Ukraine or in Albania, but I do believe my energy was required here for the time that I'm here. It was required in Ukraine. And there's something more to that I don't really know. I can't put words to, but I think we are being asked to kind of move around. And sometimes we need the freshness of energy. Someone else might have to come in here to Albania, to hold the light here for and recreate new earth here in some way. I need to move on to somewhere else, So I think we're going to be moved around a little bit. So just trust, how this unfolds for you, because I think you're going to be asked. Many of us are going to be asked to ground into a physical location in Earth, on Earth, for us to move on to this next phase. Okay. It also talks the codes that hold the blueprints of who and what you are. We talked about that. New codes, these 12 dimensional chakra systems are now plugged into the 12 strands of the fifth dimensional strands of DNA. So we have brand new strands of DNA that have been awakened because of these solar rays that have then hooked into their corresponding chakra systems. So we've talked about that. New codes and new blueprints are now part of our operating system. So we're getting used to that. We're understanding that we're operating completely different. Can you guys hear it? Can you hear that? There was a cruise ship out there and it's honking. It's my favorite part because they honk really loud and I love the cruise ship honks. It's probably gonna be two more. So these blueprints. So now we're operating differently. So the way that you used to operate in that inverted matrix, it will not work anymore. So there are some things, Bud and I have been talking about little different things, and he's like, "Well, we can go do this, and get a loan, or do you do something you used to do career wise or whatever, just till we get situated." And almost everything that we like, any idea that was of an old way, we're both kind of like, that we can't do it anymore, it won't work. So like he and I are struggling because now we're all having to anchor into our new earth, our new worlds, a completely different way of operating, because the fifth dimensional operating system is completely different than the third dimensional operating system. So these new codes and blueprints are coming online, which is why we have to listen to how we are guided in this next month, because we are being guided to get rooted down deeper than ever into the Earth Star chakra. There's something else I wanted to read too. This is from strengthessence.com. I know nothing about it, but I just read this. I just pulled up. I was just Googling some things. Not Googling, DuckDuckGoing. Also, the Earth Star chakra is known as the super root. The esoteric Earth Star chakra is the first of the fifth dimensional transpersonal, which means outside of the physical body. So the seventh chakras were associated with our physical body and our etheric body. Now we're kind of in the fifth dimensional realm of ourselves with these five new chakras coming online. And they represent how grounded and connected to the earth you are, and also to your soul. Some liken the Earth Star chakra as the connection to your soul, family, and community. There's the fifth dimensional realm, right? We're coming back into soul, family, connecting into that, into community. The seeds to your vast potential and purpose on earth are held within your Earth Star chakra. So what's happening is your whole chakra, your 12D chakra system is now communicating and grounding your entire being, your purpose, your new blueprints down into the very deep root of earth. So all of this is starting to come into fruition, and it's really starting to happen here in this next month. So all of this to say, this is when I believe we will start to see the seeds of the physical materialization of all of this work we've done in consciousness start to be seeded and start to sprout. And we are going to be aided and nurtured and watered by these massive energies So I do believe it's going to be intense. It's going to be quite potent. I think it's going to be exciting because as these new insights come in, they're part of our DNA, they're part of our purpose, and they're being grounded into earth. So I think it's going to be extremely exciting. It's going to be surprising. It's probably going to be uncomfortable because it's going to take movement. It's going to take us actually getting into the doing work, where a lot of our work so far in consciousness and expanding ourselves has been about the being and being with these energies and being with these waves. And we're still going to have to keep that balance of that. But now I believe this is when the doing will start to come. The initiation phase, the Earth card chakra was about the initiation. And if you remember back in the end of January on a daily tune-in, I was talking about the initiation and how for me, the physical reality of that was road tripping from Ukraine down here to Albania, and there was many borders in between. There was, we didn't have the right paperwork for the dog that we had, our Priya, and going through all of those borders and trying to just, it was like 30 hours of just pure initiation. And what that is like a really intense movement of time, transition, transformation, and being and remaining calm, knowing this transformation, this initiation takes us into a higher level of ourselves, takes us into a higher expression. But if we get lost in the stress and the frustration of it, then we lose it altogether and we have to repeat it. So it sounds to me like November is going to be quite, and these next few weeks are going to be quite an initiation phase, which is intense, it's potent, it's exciting, and it's also where we get to practice all of the skills we have learned by tuning into the expansion in consciousness and being in peace with it. So that's kind of what we're expecting here in November. And in each Peace Talks this week or this month, I will go deeper into different perspectives of this so that we are staying in movement. We're staying in peace during that movement. We're understanding this initiation phase. We're understanding the energies that are at our backs, moving us forward. But again, they're going to be moving us forward pretty quickly, I do believe, because it is going to be quite the rush of energy. So that was a lot of words for for this, but the feeling I get is excitement, intensity, overwhelm. And when I say overwhelm, it's not like overwhelming, I can't breathe, I can't move. It's overwhelming, like, oh my gosh, I see where this is going. This is exciting because remember, this is the energy of the Yovel year, the celebration year, the Jubilee year. This is the year that we feed on the sustenance of all of the work we've done in the last 7 years. The sustenance of energy. This is when all of that is starting to come into material manifestation in our individual worlds. This is when 5D Earth starts to come alive. Okay, so it's exciting. And so this is a completely different overwhelm, a different excitement. It's a different materialization. It's a different initiation than we knew down in this realm and when things were, was inverted. This is the opposite expression. So we just have to keep that perspective that no matter what comes up, this feeling of hopelessness was really not. It was more just a clearing, because there's nothing to be hopeless about. There's only hopefulness, gratefulness, right? Peacefulness. That's all that is in this realm. The other thing is the Earth Star chakra is at a frequency of 68 hertz, I believe. When you get to 40 hertz and above, that's in the 5th dimensional realm. I did put a link in the description on this video for a meditation, a frequency meditation to kind of get calibrated to the Earth Star chakra, so we can start to kind of find that resonance as we ground down. So you can click on that. And I'm going to be doing that as well here most nights. Probably as I go to sleep, I usually put something in just to kind of bring myself down. So so let's be doing that together. So we're coming into resonance with this Earth Star chakra, and we're staying very, very grounded in this, what I believe is going to be a massively expansive moment in time in these next few weeks. Okay. The grand rising, yes, 100% bang on. I really feel this. I feel this big. I feel it. I feel it. I feel it big. That's all I keep saying is my heart has been expanding. There's a lot of information coming in. I can feel it. Like I said, the headache, what I know now is when I have a dull ache going on and a lot of pressure here, it just means there's a lot of information coming in that is going to be integrated in these next few days. If I take care of myself and you take care of yourself, and we let it ground down, we pull it down. Now we're going to ground it down, pull it all, breathe it all the way down to that Earth Star chakra. So we're fully, all parts of us, each chakra is on the same page. It's got all of this information. And this is going to be the information in the data that our blueprint has pulled in for these next few weeks. Linear, I'm talking linear time, but this is the download, right? So we're getting the download, pull that all the way through. And so all of the information and data that is required, the wisdom that is required for us to walk through this massive portal energy, these massive energies flood that we're going to be in from now to the end of the year, all of the data is already there. We just have to keep in that peace, that state of peace, connected to our supernal channel, which means we are a channel of peace, and all of the information will be there when we need it. Okay, just have faith with me. Have faith, and I teach what I also need to learn and what I also need to remember, because this is uncomfortable, and at the same time, I know it's in our and for our best good. We are the pioneers. We are the brave ones going ahead of everybody else, and we're going to show them how it's done. Not from an egoic state, but we're going to show them how it's done, because we're going to live a freaking amazing experience, and we're going to live to tell it, and it's going to be the story of our lives. So grateful to be here, you all. Thank you so much for being with me during this depleted day. I don't feel so depleted, but I will in about 5 minutes. When I get off of here, I'll probably fall down and take a little nap. But thank you so much for being here with me. Mwah. I'll see you on the next Peace Talks.